to part 5.
That sounds good. I kind of like that.
Of Knit the Books. I'm Allie.
And I'm Vicki.
Thank you for joining us. I know this has been a weird, maybe not weird, but a different week on how we've been doing this. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. We're going to do it again with our next episode. And then after that, we're going to see how we feel about it, see how you guys feel about it, and we'll kind of do a discussion in the group. But for now, we're going to talk about a new podcast.
Oh, it's a fun podcast.
I heard about this again from Crime Writers On. I actually talked about them a little bit, I think in part 4 of this episode, but anyway. And I called Mom on Thursday and told her about it. I was like, listen to this so we can talk about it on the podcast. So this is called Missing Richard Simmons. It's an audio podcast. It's going to be a 6-parter, I do believe, and as of us recording, there's 4 episodes. By the time this goes up on YouTube, the 5th episode should be out.
Yes.
Or it should be coming out that day. So by the time you watch this, there should be 5 episodes out. It is hosted by Dan Taberski.
That sounds...
I think so. I
think so.
He's a filmmaker, and he had, I want to say in 2013 or 2012, maybe earlier than that, he joined Richard Simmons' class at Slimmons, and he was going to do like a documentary on him. And then, I don't know if you guys know this, Mom didn't really know about it. I knew a little bit about it, but no one has really seen Richard Simmons since 2014.
Right.
And so this this podcast is about, what would you say it's about, really? Because you've listened to all 4 episodes.
I've listened to all 4 of them. I really like it. They're not long.
They're
podcasts,
about 30 minutes
35 minutes each. I think it's more about, like the title is, it's people that are concerned because he hasn't been seen, about some of the changes around his house that have been made, and the abrupt change in his demeanor maybe. And they are actually, it's not a vindictive in any way, talk bad about him. It's all done, I think, out of respect
and love.
Very respectful. Love is shown. Concern is shown a lot.
What I like about it is whenever I first heard about it, I took it as missing Richard Simmons, as in Richard Simmons is missing, we're going to find out where he is. When I started listening to it, it's more of a I'm missing Richard Simmons.
Yes.
And I think that was a good choice on his part for the podcast name. And like I was saying a minute ago, Dan, the host, he knows Richard. He went to his class. What he was saying is, like I said, I knew that he hadn't been out in the public. I don't think I realized how long it had been.
Oh, I didn't have a clue.
But the 15th of February, 2014, was the last time he had been seen. And what happened was he didn't show up for one of his classes, and he did the same class. I want to say he did it once a week.
Maybe.
Or something like that. Because, his Slimmons was that's where he got started, basically. And that had been open for 40 years. It closed down a year or 2 ago.
And I didn't realize that he had that there were locations in other cities. I've learned a lot about. I've always known about him.
Yeah, he's always been around.
He's always been big. Big personality, eccentric in his dress and his actions. He's awesome. And I just didn't realize that his wealth was like it was. And I knew he'd always done the exercise and had the one. I didn't realize they were in other cities. So I've learned a lot about the man. In episode 4, it actually talks even about his childhood.
Yeah, because Dan went to New Orleans to try and find his brother. But yeah, like I said, there's been 4 episodes, and like the first episode was kind of like a background.
Yes.
I don't remember what the second episode about. The 3rd episode was really good.
It was good.
Really good. Okay. So what we'll talk about a little bit is just a little bit more of the history. So what has happened is he's supposedly, he didn't show up for his class. And people waited for like a couple of hours before they were finally like, okay, I guess he's not coming. And they did that for a few months. Like every week they would come and they would have a sign up that said, Richard isn't going to be here, try again next month. And they would just take the sign down and put it right back up with a new month on it. And they did that for a long time. And there's been a few theories about why he's gone missing. At first it was he hurt his knee, which is something that he had been dealing with before. I think he had surgery on one knee, and then he was having issues with his other knee.
I think so.
And then in one of the episodes, they were talking about how he had 8 Dalmatians.
Yes.
And a few years ago, his 8th the last one, passed away. And they were saying that, that was really hard for him. He went from having a pack, honestly, to nothing.
And I'm not going to give it away, but they talk about in the great love he had. The one he had for, it was in the teens, was how old she was. And the loving and the care that he would give to her.
And then there was discussion, there's a theory that he's not being taken well care of. He has this maid who he's had
30 years?
30 plus years she's worked for him. And, he's bought her Mercedes and everything. She was more to him than just a maid. And there's a theory that she's keeping him hostage. I'm not saying that's what it is, because I obviously don't know what's going on.
No.
But someone called in to the cops, and they went, and they've done at least one wellness check. You said that you think they've done 2?
I think they've done a second one, because after this, I hit the internet, because it's like, what can I find? And there were actually, and I think that the stories are there because of this podcast.
Yeah, because people are showing interest in what's going on again.
They said that they had done
a wellness check.
Yes, for elder care. Elder abuses, I think, is what they were actually concerned with. In 2015, maybe. And then they had done and maybe I just read it wrong. Maybe it's the same one, but the cop said
did at least one, maybe 2.
Maybe 2. The cop said that he sat with him about an hour and talked to him, and he says he's fine.
And I think he's called in to news.
I think he called somebody.
And talked to somebody, and his manager says that he's fine. He just doesn't want to be out in the public. But from what I'm getting from this, and why I feel like Dan is concerned, and he did an episode about this, but Richard loved I don't even want to call them his fans, because I don't think he thought of them that way. There's
the
people,
public.
The public. He drove, there's people that drive around and point out celebrities' houses. He said, every person that does that said, that Dan talked to said that he would be out there waiting for them so they can get a picture and meet with him and everything. And he just quit doing that. And he had people who he would call in every week and talk to them and check in and make sure that they were doing okay. And he was basically like a therapist. And then he just quit calling these people. And I think that's where the concern is for this. It's what's wrong with Richard? What does he need from us after he's given everyone so much? So that's what I'm getting from it.
Yeah, I think it's not that he's missing, that everyone is missing him, and it's very concerned. And some of the ideas that he's thrown out there, and, everybody, we all tend to have an opinion about what's going on. Some of them are genuine, I think, concerns. Because they knew, some of these people had known him for years, and they're just really worried about him.
He had, what's her name, Jerry?
Yes.
She was in her 90s, and he would pick her up, drive her to his class every week, and then nothing. And it's just, that's where I see, when I first heard about this, I was kind of like, oh, we're invading his privacy. He doesn't want, but I still feel kind of weird about it, that invasion of privacy thing. There's some, weird middle ground there that I feel like, could possibly cross. I don't feel like it's been crossed yet, but I feel like it could be crossed. But I realize that that's not what this is about. It's just, I feel like Dan's point in this is getting it out there for Richard to see that these people really do miss him and everything, and just
that we love you.
Yeah. Because he was talking about, too, I don't remember if it was the last episode or the episode before, there's been a social media presence, but then he was talking about, that's not how Richard does his. So it's is it really him doing the social media? Is it someone else doing it? But then when you think about it, most celebrities don't do their own social media anyway. But then he used to, so I don't know. It's weird.
Well, and they said that some of the posts that have been showing up are recycled posts and photos.
From years ago.
From years ago. So, I don't know. They're just...
And I kind of was thinking more of wanting to get this out there. I think it's still #1 on iTunes, so I'm sure you guys have heard about it.
But I hadn't.
that doesn't mean you've listened to it. And I really think, even if you were not a Richard Simmons fan, I think it's very well done.
Mm-hmm.
It's edited very well. The sound quality is very good, and it's really interesting.
And it's not only him, he's actually talking to some of these people that are concerned for Richard, and how they met, how he met some of these people, and how those relationships got started, and how he helped these people.
They're like it's like case studies, kind of.
Yes,
like people or something. And it's really interesting.
It is. I'm glad that you brought this one to my attention, because it's like, oh, I can't wait till next week now, so I can see what the next one is.
I'm curious to see what's going to come from this.
Yes.
But if you've been thinking about listening to it, or you have it downloaded or whatever, I think they're very short. Like, they're about 30 minutes, a little bit over 30 minutes each. So I think you should give them a go this week.
It's not. I don't consider it a waste of time. I enjoy it a lot. So
yeah, I just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention to let you know that it seems really good, and I'll be curious to see how it ends. So.
Me too, and I actually hope. I don't want him to feel like people are invading his privacy, because it could be looked at that way. I hope if he knows about this podcast, and I don't see how he couldn't if he's.
Well, the guy's been sending him maybe not transcripts, but clippings. Mm-hmm. I think that's what he said.
If nothing else, a release of, this is where I am in my life, and this is what I've chosen. I'm okay. Because it is hard for people, especially the relationship that he's had with some of these people. The little, I don't remember what her name is. You said it just a minute ago.
Jerry.
Yes, it's in her 90s. They have been doing this weekly come and take her home to the exercise class, and then just abruptly stop with no word.
And that was another thing too. I think whenever I first heard about this, I was like, gosh, we think we are so entitled with celebrities, like we need to know things. But like, listening to it, I realized that it's deeper than that, though. It isn't, like, I don't feel like he owes me anything.
No, me neither.
But, like, I would love it to find out, even if he didn't post anything for everyone else to know, I would love to find out that, like, he sent letters to these people, just for, like something like that.
Something like that,
But, like I was saying, like, I don't feel like he owes me anything.
No, not at all.
I'm so offended for Jerry and things like that. Yeah. It's like, but, I mean, I understand. I mean, he's been out and I feel like his career, he completely put himself out there, and I'm sure he's exhausted.
He may be just exhausted.
And, if it was because of his knees, and, he was very upset about that, and if it was because of the dog, I'm a dog lover, I get it. I mean,
I do know that in one of the episodes they talked about how much he hated surgery and stuff. So that...
Because I think they were saying, like, it took him so long
to get back from the first knee.
To do the first one that,
And that's just...
I like that. I hope he knows that we all care.
Yeah, that everybody cares. That it's, we just want to know you're okay. We don't even have to know why or if something happened.
I mean, but here's the thing, though. Like, he says he's okay.
He says he's okay.
Supposedly. But, like, people... I don't know. I think if I was in the circle, I would have a different opinion about it. But it's really interesting. I highly recommend it.
It's a good listen, so I recommend it too.
So that's all. We just wanted to throw that out there and recommend that to you guys. Thank you for joining us for our new format.
Yes.
Or our trial format. I won't say new because we don't know if we're going to stick with it. We will be doing this again in 2 weeks. I guess.
Yes.
So, and we're going to do this format again, and then after that, we'll do a discussion with you guys probably on the Ravelry thread. You can let us know if you completely dislike this format.
If you like it.
If you liked it. If you can take either or, just let us know, and...
Then we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll decide before we do our first episode in April. Yeah, so thank you guys for joining us and giving this a shot. Again, I'm Allie.
And I'm Vicki.
And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.